Hey, welcome to the closing beat, everybody. Happy Thursday. Been gone for a few days here. Little short vacation. Happy to be back. Glad to be back, actually. I don't like walking away for too long. Hope you guys had a good time while I was gone. I see the markets had a good time while I was gone there, so we're going to cover that today. This is our quick show that we do just to kind of cover the stock market, let you know what happened for the day. The good, the bad, the ugly. We try to leave opinion out of it and just sort of go over the data points, little things along the way that we could do to help you. We're financial advisors here at Jazz Wealth. So if we help you in some way, or if you're like, I don't get this, I need some help, the guy that I'm working with is not helping me, the lady that I'm working with never calls me, whatever it may be, well, I just hope you keep us in mind. That's all. We're here to just kind of help out, and if we're a good fit for you in the future, that's great. We're also playing a quick game if you want. Go to our website there, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. You can play Guess the Dow. No strings attached, just a fun summertime game. We'll see if you guys keep playing. We'll just keep it going, but closest of guessing the Dow week over week without going over wins $100. Like I said, no strings attached. We sent out our first gift card earlier this week, actually, for the winner of last week. And tomorrow we'll announce the winner for who guessed correctly. So go to the website if you want to play along. That'd be great. If you're one of our customers, we have our class tonight. We're going to talk about different ways to physically invest once you're done investing for retirement. Like, how do you position like something that you're trying to save more for high interest savings, and try to compete with that, or more conservative type investments. So we're going to go over that and kind of go over different ways you can put some things together. Very laid back class we do every week, just to kind of help you guys, answer questions, things like that. If you're one of our customers, you have the email with the invite. If not, let us know. We'll get that to you. All right, so you got the Dow higher by 249 today, S&P higher by 27, hitting new all-time highs. You got the NASDAQ 64 points higher. Whoa, right? So a good run here. The power of the markets taking a break. Remember, before I left, right, all last week we were talking about the markets just doing nothing. Take a break. Just sit there. You ran up a hill, take a break, and you can get more done. And so this is like the power of the markets actually taking a break. They had a great run for the start of June. They basically paused there all last week, and this week off to another good start. We sort of talked about it last week that this could be the catalyst, the Fed, talking about their rates and what they're going to do. So we got that activity here, enough to push the S&P 500 to new all-time highs, record highs here. So very nice. If you have, investments in the market, you should be catching up now at this point from that May decline, which turns out actually, I guess it wasn't all that big of a deal. So markets are heading higher there. If you look at the NASDAQ, you got the same sort of picture there, moving back to highs. Not all-time highs just yet, moving back to those highs there. Up over 20% year to date for the NASDAQ, but not quite to those new highs just yet. And then you got a picture here of the Dow. There you go. Very strong, obviously, hitting the highs, all's very good there. But here's the deal, right? Let's look at the S&P real quick. There you go. At the highs today, almost up 20% year to date, by the way, if that helps you. But here's the deal. You got the Fed now. Traders think the Fed is sort of locked into cutting rates. In fact, there's a 99% chance that they are betting on that the Fed will cut rates in the next cycle, which would be just before August, it's next month. And so you got a 99% chance. That's as high as it goes, right? You can't have an exact 100% chance that they'll cut rates, right? So remember, you don't want this, though. So we talked about this. It's exciting that the Fed may keep the monetary policy. I saw in their announcement there, no rate cut, although they said they're willing to. If they have to, they will dive in and do whatever it takes to sustain the current bull market. And they removed the word patience. Remember, that was a drinking game back the last couple of announcements. How many times did they say patience in the first time that they announced that? So if you're one of our customers, our market update that we did, we actually did the study to say, what happens when the Fed cuts rates? What does the market do a month later, 3 months later, 6 months later, a year later? Is it good news or is it bad news? And it's sort of misleading because you have the markets heading higher in the short term. Historically, every time the markets head higher, 100% of the time, 1 month after the Fed cuts rates, the market gains an average of 3.5%. 100% of the time. I think we covered like 6 of the prior rate cuts. So that sounds awesome. You think, okay, great. Seems like they're going to cut rates. They may have to cut rates. And it sounds like it's a good thing for my investments. But 3 months later, 6 months later, 1 year later, It's not good data. We put it in our monthly update, so if you go into the dojo, you can actually check it out. But you don't want that, right? It's not a good thing for the stock market. Add to that your 10-year versus 3-month, right? The current yield curve. I sort of touched on this last week to see if you guys were interested in talking about it. But remember, with what happens there, what is today? Today will be the 21st day that yield curve is inverted. Not a big deal, right? We talked about that sort of like, does that matter? Do we really care? Every recession, when the yield curve has been inverted, every recession besides one happened when that yield curve was inverted for more than 50 days. We're on day 21. The only other time that the market went into a recession on that 10 versus 3s, the yield curve everybody likes to look at, the only other time that happened was after 30 days of being inverted. So there's that pressure there that, oh my God, the data says the longer we stay inverted, the more likely we have a recession. And we're coming up on that 30th day. So traders are going to talk about that more and more. You'll see it on TV and everything. It'll be whatever there. But so that's the issue here. You got Fed cutting rates. It feels like you want it. It seems like you want it. Data says you don't want it as far as market performance. And then you got that yield curve. That's a problem, hinting at that possible recession. A little data for you. The market is only positive 57% of the time 1 year later when the yield curve is inverted for more than 20 days. So we're here. We're at 21 days. Like appropriate timing, right? Only 50% of the time, 57% of the time, 1 year later is the market positive. And here's the bad part. When it is positive, it's only positive by an average of 1.5%. So I didn't mean to start off with some negative stuff there, but that's basically where we're at. And I got excited. I was gone, right? I wanted to just share a lot of stuff with you. My mind's used to just going crazy sharing data with you. So let's take a look. Let's go into the markets here a little bit. For the S&P 500, you got 67% of them now above the 50-day moving average. That's a very nice increase week over week. We were at 55% this time last week. Technology, that's your fourth place winner. As far as the sectors that are the strongest, technology catching up was 5th place last week, by the way. You got 100 new 52-week highs today. So very good there. Most of them were REITs in the financial space and credit cards. That helps you. And only 4 new lows. You had Kroger. This is all mostly retail. Kroger hit new 52-week lows, down 2% today. They lowered guidance going forward, I believe, for the rest of the year. And Kohl's hits like a 52-week low nearly every day. So that's that one. All right, sector-wise, some things you want to look at. Gold. Wow, big move for gold here. Look at this. Doesn't this seem like exciting? Oh my gosh, maybe I should invest in gold. Dustin, zoom out. Let's go further. Holy cow, this is incredible. Look at how far gold is going, right? Seems really exciting. However, this right here, where it's at, is at the upper end of a 4-year range. So that's great. It's good news, but it really hasn't done anything for the last 4 years. We're just at the upper end of a trading range. So it's moved sideways for the last 4 years, and now we're at the top portion of that. Regardless, it's a 3-year high. That's what makes the news today. It's all very exciting. The dollar falling, the gold moving higher, 2.5%. You want to take a look at oil as well. Oil and anything oil related did really good today. You got oil up 4.5%. Do we have a couple of them in here? Let me see. Energy, obviously, at the top of the list there. Oil service stocks, if you're looking at that sort of thing. XOP is a popular one. Good day, and that one's really struggled. That's been one of the weaker sort of subcategories of the market there. Had a good day today. You saw it on TV. I don't probably have to tell you. Iran blew up one of our drones, and was it a mistake? Was it not? Were we in their airspace, or were we in international airspace? It's just drama, moving back and forth. Bottom line is, if you have energy or oil-related investments, they did well today, and a much-needed rally, I should say, whether it was oil service, oil explorers, energy itself, natural gas up at the top there, I believe, if you're taking a look at that as well. Great day for that one. I mentioned a second ago the dollar falling and has been falling here after Fed news there, moving back to these prior lows. Still very strong in general, but no doubt helping things overall there. And we talked about the inverted yield curve there. You can see long-term bonds here, price just poking up to new highs. Yeah, and that's about it. I mean, everything pretty much had a good day, has been having good performance overall. So we don't really have to like go through everything individually. I noticed semiconductors while I was gone, immediate reversal. Very, very nice reversal there from that gap down last week. So you could consider that closed and semiconductors being have a nice rally after that pullback. Remember, this was the rally here that we were talking about over and over again. This does not move back to all-time highs. You see that pullback first. So that's officially accomplished there, looking pretty sweet. And what else? We don't have to go crazy today. Let me just see what we have here. Tomorrow, existing home sales. That'll be popular and front and center. It'll be come out a half hour after the market's open tomorrow. CarMax reporting earnings tomorrow. We're expecting $1.50 a share, $1.49 if you're pinching pennies there. Carnival, in the news today, they lowered guidance, actually, all because of the Cuba restriction there. So travel to Cuba being sort of not as nice as it used to be, and that's naturally going to hurt Carnival. And it did. Darden Restaurants, you know the names there. The used to be Outback. Now I think it's like Olive Garden and Longhorn Steakhouse, if you care. So Darden's beat on earnings, but they lowered guidance. The stock did close a little bit positive after opening really, really weak on the day, under an entire lows range there. You had a lot of stop losses triggered right from the very, very start, if that's something you pay attention to. Facebook, I see the new currency project there. You've got... is it the Senate? Let me see. Let me get this right here. The U.S. Senate's going to start holding hearings on that mid-July. So that they got to love this, man. Front and center. They're going to be in the news for over a month. And not only that, they got to love this because sort of moves the privacy issue thing off to the sidelines, right? Everybody's going to be, ooh, crypto, crypto, crypto. So they got to love it. I mean, it's perfect for them. Not only are they willing to work on the privacy issues and hold their own regulatory conferences, which is odd, but probably necessary. It totally takes the spotlight off of that. So I'm sure we'll be covering that more and more and more as we go. Oracle, 8% pop on the day, hitting new highs there. It's the triple beat, right? Beat on earnings, beat on guidance, beat on revenue, and they raised their guidance. Stock price higher by 8%. That's awesome there. You're not looking at the charts. Sorry about that. See what happens? Forget how to do it. There's Oracle, 8% higher. And then Wynn, I checked in on it throughout the day. It did close pretty much flat. Wynn Resorts was higher, right back into the 50-day moving average. All the conversation has to do with Macau there. How's Macau doing? And the CEO said that Macau is very much stabilizing, which, if that's true, it's about time, right? There's been a lot of sort of nonsense there, but getting better. Michael, he says the guess the Dow game is it shows why he's not a market timer. He's horrible at it. Hey, you don't have to be good at it. Just get a little bit lucky. Maybe you'll win there. That's cool though. Home sales definitely slowing down in California. You feel it over there? From the last new home sales and existing home sales numbers, the far west over there was actually the only area that hadn't slowed down yet. So if you're feeling that there's a slowdown in California, and that turns out to be true, remember it breaks down into regions, the data there, that could be the final nail in the coffin there for the home builders. I know the home builders are doing great over there. I don't know that people are buying them, but I know they're going crazy building them out there. Yeah. Yeah, home sale. Okay, cool. Get your balance sheets normalized. Oh, Fed comments there. Yeah, I don't get into opinion. The only opinion that I have really about the Fed is they talk too much. That's it. I'm not going to tell somebody how to do their job. I don't do that job. I don't pretend to understand. I'm not an economist. But I do think they talk too much. This is like, you notice how the data, whenever we talk about the data, like the furthest we go back is like 1982 or 1980, because they didn't used to just start throwing this stuff out like this. And I think that's tough. You got our Guess the Dow winner in there, got his gift card. Awesome. I love it. Enjoy, Ram. What are your thoughts on living revocable trust? Should everyone have one? Does a married couple in their 40s and kids need one? Depends on your complications, right? If you are just a dude that got married and had kids, not an emergency. Like, you don't have to go to a lawyer for that. You could just go online. You could do it that way. If you are a divorced guy who marries a recently divorced woman, you have some kids, they have some kids, absolutely. There's no way to really argue that. You need professional help on that one. And I'm not the person, by the way, so I'm not like trying to sell myself. But in just a straight, like cut and dry, first marriage, one kid, younger kid, something like that, you could go very basic. You don't have to be sold on the $1,000 products or go to something like that. But if you come from a more sort of non-traditional background, family-wise, and if you have blended families, things like that, I would suggest it, yeah. How was the vacation? Yeah, it was good. I had a good time. Actually, quick story. Went to Cedar Point, rode some roller coasters, and on one of the roller coasters, the rental car key went right out. My phone almost went out too. So for a day and a half there, the car just sat there, and they actually found the keys. So didn't have to spend all that money on getting extra keys, but that was a little stressful. Other than that, it was a great time, great place, great people up there too. I mean, the weather was amazing, everything about it, I loved it. How much longer do you think this rally is going to last? Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, it really doesn't matter what my opinion is or whether I think it stops tomorrow or a year from now. I like to watch the data as it comes. And the more data that I keep sharing with you guys and, of course, our customers here, the more the data is starting to say, okay, we're reaching a stalling point. That does not mean we have to fall. People mistake that all the time. They think, oh, that means the market's going to fall. There are many instances where the markets have expanded and then just stopped, right? And they traded in a range for a while. Nothing good, nothing bad, and then all of a sudden we hit the next economic boom. So I'm not one of those that says the market has to crash, pull back, it could just stay sideways. But the more that we look at this, the more data that I share with you guys, it looks like more of a slowing, let's say. Yep. What's the data show for new highs? Do we see any resistance? Well, the market's sort of doing it to itself, to be honest. And this may be not the best way to look at it because the gap, this isn't like technically the low of the day. But now from, what was that? June, the beginning of June. Remember how we said we moved sharply higher and we need to take a break? We took a break. Now we're starting to move sharply higher again. It's going a little bit too far, too fast, in my opinion. That's my only real opinion I guess I'll offer. But if we continue to do that again, I would ask the exact same thing of the market. Okay, take a break. If you move up too far, too fast, right? Take a break. If that's what happens again, take a break. You never want the market to get too far ahead of itself. It's not a good thing. So as far as resistance, I would use that as resistance, meaning the distance between current price and the 20-day moving average getting further than that 2 standard deviations. That tends to act as its own resistance, which is not really a word in this case. It's more of sort of gravitational pull, I guess. I don't know how to say it. Yep. Making some 08 calls there, are you? UTMA over 529 for one's children. That's up to you. Yeah, it's really up to you. Some states have really good 529s. If you do choose the 529, the investment option. Don't do the prepaid investment option. Yep. French electronics company Thales. I've never looked at it. Nope. The V. You mean the V bottom, right? So the way the markets just sort of gave that V bottom. I don't care so much for those, but I know statistically they are okay. They do provide. That's supposed to be something you look for. I just don't like it. I like when they take their time. Slow and steady rally. I'll take a slow and steady rally over a quick gap or a little V-shaped bottom any day of the week. They last a lot longer. The returns in the V-shaped bottom are better in the short term, but if you get those longer term rallies there, the great returns come from those. It'd be a good video, actually. Yep. How do you think the market is running ahead of expectations? How do you think that market is running ahead of expectations? I still don't think they cut in July. If the markets are here... Now, remember my sort of prediction here. Trump will use this rally to hit China with the rest of the tariffs next week, right? Is it next week? Well, a week and a half away. I just think he's going to do that. The markets are sitting at all-time highs. He's got some breathing room. If this doesn't go super, super well with China, tariffs on everything, and he doesn't care that it hurts the market. I really think that's probably what happens. Yep. CarMax reports earnings tomorrow. I have no idea if it goes higher or lower. We'll talk about it when it happens, but I don't. It's a bit of a gamble there. You can look at the options market and see what people are betting on to see if they think it's going higher or lower, but it'll be tomorrow morning, so it's too late to do anything with it anyways. Yep. No, I don't think there'll be a trade deal this month. I think it would look really bad if there is a trade deal this month because it just looked like a random deal where nobody really gets anything done. I think it's okay that it takes longer to get the China trade deal done, if that's what you're talking about. Yep. Emergency funds held in bonds, okay. I don't like that. No. What if you need the money? What if there's an emergency? What if bond prices fall and you need the money? I don't like that. Not to mention, are you really giving up that much? Just go with a high yield, high interest savings account. I don't know. Yeah. In a 401k and a company match, do they match pre-taxed amount or is it the tax? So I think what you're asking there is when the company, whatever they match, whatever the dollars come out to be that they match for you, those are all pre-tax, if that's the question. Yep. Always pre-tax. They can't put it in a post-tax one by law. How do you easily see how many companies are above their 50? Oh, looking at a 52-week high list, it's just on the screener thing. I think what you mean is the stocks above their 50-day moving average. That's just that's what we just collect that. That's just a thing that we actually show. I'm interested in it. It's not that you have to, by the way. Just something I like to look at. When you find that a stock is too expensive, can I use call options? What do you mean by too expensive? Oh, the price is too expensive, meaning you just think, oh, well, I'll just buy calls if the stock is too expensive. Careful. You probably want to learn a little bit more there. The attraction is going to be for you to buy what's known as out-of-the-money calls. That's a losing bet. Now, you might get one right every now and then, but it is a losing proposition. And if you tell me what strike price you're actually thinking, I can actually tell you the exact odds of you being successful, and it's not going to be good. So if you are considering replicating the price of a stock with buying call options, use at-the-money call options. They're still going to be pricey on Amazon, $20, $30, something like that, but it sounds like that's you're more okay with that. But remember, you have to buy two, by the way. I don't want to turn this into an options class, but if you want to replicate the exact performance of a stock, you actually have to buy two at-the-money calls of the stock. So careful. If what I just said sounds like a bunch of gibberish, do a little reading first, because people lose a lot of money buying the wrong calls if you're on the buy side. Yep. So very careful. And financial investor backing me up there with a little, just need education. It's not that you can't do it, right? Just learn up a little bit about it, understand what you're buying, and it can be a great thing, but careful. Are there any penalties to selling and buying some shares of a single mutual fund within a short period? I don't know of any on mutual funds there. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you between the spread there, but is there any reason you can't do it like on a day-to-day basis? Not that I know of. I don't think there's any mutual fund that penalizes you for that. I could be wrong, but I don't believe they do. Blackstone, so that's a tough one. We have some of their products in there. It's tough because you're right, it is a partnership. They have a lot of great energy related products, and especially infrastructure overseas. They're right on the forefront of all that. Blackstone is. It's just an individual stock. I mean, you could say the same thing about Microsoft or something. Why doesn't anybody talk about them? I mean, occasionally it makes the news there. Yeah. Think about like what's exciting on TV. Talk about Blackstone, talk about PayPal or, Visa or what they're doing. So just eyeballs. Where'd they find the car keys? I have no idea. I was just thankful they found them. It was on the ride, so it like fell down. If you're familiar with Cedar Point, we were on the Magnum XL 200. So it's not like it was even the most violent one there. Fell out somewhere, but you know that track goes over the water park. It goes over the water, the Lake Erie, and it goes over, so it crosses two theme parks and goes over the water. And I was like, oh, yeah, they're gone. There's no way they're going to find them. And they did. Yeah. Hellhound, can you buy options in a Roth? Yeah, absolutely. And trade futures? Yeah, sure can. You just got to get your broker's approval. So some of them may make you take a test. Some of them may make you answer just a few questions because they don't want to be in trouble for your craziness there. But you can. There's no reason you can't. Oh, you live in Belgium. Oh, man, that's crazy. I can't believe the people that watch from all over the world. That's fascinating to me. That's crazy. Crazy. Well, I think we answered your questions there. I'm happy to help. Market-wise, we got tomorrow rather quiet. Existing home sales. You got PMI numbers come out too. They'll get more of the attention in the morning. We'll cover those, of course, for the closing beat. We will see you again tomorrow for that. If I helped you in some way, hit the subscribe button, and yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy your day.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.